Hello, guys. I am Shane Davis, 20-year comic book veteran, and we're going to talk a little bit about Marvel Rivals. Now, I will admit I have not played this game. I've only watched YouTube clips on this game and whatnot, but I don't know. I keep up with it mainly because I like the costume designs I've seen in the game for the most part. I keep up enough. I've watched videos on it. They have the big head thing going on now and all that. Now, I'll probably eventually check it out. I'm just not looking for a new game because I got my Godzilla pinball. But anyways, Marvel Comics executive editor says Marvel Rivals has no effect on print plans, believes characters' popularity has more to do with the play mechanics than it does to characters themselves. Now, I did a previous video about this some months back, talking about the popularity of Marvel Rivals and what that could mean for Marvel Comics. And look, everybody working there is going to say, it means nothing to us. But in that video, if you guys go back and look, I said and I stated, if this is a game that can take root, a lot like something like Fortnite, and people like these characters, and these characters become even more popular than Marvel Comics can make them, characters like Squirrel Girl, Cloak and Dagger in this situation, why do you need Marvel Publishing? And people are going to go like to develop new stories, ideas, whatever. Well, I hate to tell you, most of Hollywood just wants to pick and choose from the comics that already exist. And nobody's really coming up with great new stories anymore. I never hear anybody talk about this new story, this new angle of anything happening in comics for almost years. It's actually headlines have been diversity, inclusion, sexuality, all of that stuff, right? So here comes along a Marvel video game where you can add any kind of mort character, somebody who's not a very popular character, and they're not there just because of their fan base, but mainly because of their power base or how they can be an asset to the game and multiplayer and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, the character becomes very popular, like Emma Frost in some cases, Squirrel Girl, whatever the Shark Dog character this is. But it works. Plus, you could come up with multiple DLC skins and just keep redoing the costume. So the argument that Marvel Comics produces more toys because they can just redo Spider-Man's costume for 6 issues, that's not going to work anymore because now this game at a lot easier. If anybody knows what Fortnite is, you'll understand this. Can just come up with a new skin, drop it, charge you for it, and make money and never have to deal with publishing, never have to deal with identity politics, characters, creators pushing themselves on the characters, all of that. It's just a video game, right? Keeps the intellectual property alive, keeps the trademark copyright. Every time you sell a new DLC of the character, you're renewing that trademark and copyright by that sales transaction. Everything works out perfectly in the sense that we're only here for research and development, which Tom Brevoort in his Substack has been caught saying time to time that they're just running on autopilot and they're just keeping these IPs alive. Now, this was interesting, and in a way, kudos to Tom Brevoort and his Substack, which I feel like is one foot out the door, so he still has something he can do if Marvel doesn't work out. But he goes, X-Men line editor chose to field the question regarding whether or not anything readers can expect anticipated for Cloak and Dagger in the next year, particularly in how the fans' opinion. It feels like they have never been more popular than they are right now, thanks to Marvel Rivals. Now, I actually liked these characters when I was growing up reading comics. They're very easy to like. You know, Cloak has like a very cool ability. He's able to basically make portals and pull people into his cloak, and they kind of come out all brain dead and stuff. And then Dagger throws beams of light, kind of. So they kind of have this yin yang thing going on. I first read them in Spider-Man. They have had video game appearances before on the Spider-Man Sega Genesis game as kind of like sidekick characters that would jump in power assets or whatever. Now, in this game, I haven't kept up with it. I don't know how or why they're super likable. None of that really matters, though. The point is, people probably know who they are now than they do in the comics, and that's the point of this. So Tom kind of answers to this, which I think is a bullheaded response. I tend to think that popularity in Marvel Rivals likely has more to do with play mechanics than it does characters themselves. Which is to say, I haven't seen any major correlation between popularity in the game and the rise of interest in the characters in print outside of maybe two outliers. Now, I want to call bullshit on that because back when I was reading comics, the reasons I like Cloak and Dagger, the reasons I told you I liked them in the comic, are the things that they would do in the comic, which was their power base, Cloak and with absorbing his fucking teleporting cloak, all that stuff, Dagger throwing beams of light. I couldn't tell you more about them than that. But the reality is in the 90s, these characters did more action based things, things that people liked, that were fun to look at, that were things that were special effects driven, action for a few bucks, beautiful artwork, the graphics, all of that. Spider-Man double page spreads of him swinging across the city. Now, modern comics are so effing boring. The characters are sitting around talking about their sexuality or changing sexuality, politics, and oftentimes having long, drawn out conversations over things like coffee and stuff like that, rather than the X-Men Danger Room sequence talking about their feelings as they're fighting Sentinels. Now the X-Men sit around and, I don't know, talk. And that's kind of the thing. Visually, comics aren't that interesting anymore. So, yes, that's where I don't agree with him on this. I feel like if these characters were better represented visually in comics, people would be more into them. And to be honest, Cloak and Dagger are visually interesting. You have a blonde, skin tight outfit chick, and then you have this brooding, hooded, cloak, shadowy figure. I mean, they visually are compelling to look at together. Why Tom Brevoort doesn't understand that comics is a visual medium, and now Marvel Comics is getting their ass kicked by a visual medium of this with these characters. If it's not the movies, it's this, and oh wait, the comics are there for research and development. Marvel is always 3 months behind in development and putting out at their quickest, and they could be working on a comic years before its release. This video game will be able to dump characters out, new costumes, new skins, new play modes at a breakneck speed and sidestep any distribution problem. I'd still double down that this game, if it really continues to be as successful as it is today, it could really put corporate comics on its head. I've been around the American comic book industry too long to not understand that half the reason for the last 10 or so years that comics have been ran the way it is because they feel the parent companies need them to keep these characters and trademarks out there and keep them renewed. Or Marvel Comics, Tom Brevoort says, it's okay if we keep losing money on us on Spider-Man, maybe, or whatever, Captain America or something, because guess what? We're going to keep all these characters alive for you and renew their trademarks. And then maybe you'll get a TV show out of it, which these characters have had, or something like that. And you'll see that these characters get annually willed out, say like once every 3 years or something like that. They have to. They have to go into print. Their name has to be on a cover, an action blurb, or something like that. Famously, I had that story where I had to draw some covers. I think for Avenging Spider-Man, they had this random character they were bringing back out called Hypno Hustler. He was a disco king that would go into the disco and hypnotize everybody in there and steal their wallets. Not even making this up. And I asked my editor, I'm like, who? He's like, here are some JPEGs of this character. And I go to do some research and do the Wikipedia, and this character randomly would pop up in name in an Avengers cartoon or something like that. And I'm like, why are you using this character? He sucks. He's like, we got to use him for 2 issues because we have to renew the trademark and copyright. And that's how Marvel Comics works and operates. Now, in the good time of Marvel Comics, they're still making interesting comics and keeping all these more characters out there. But what if there's a game that can do that? And that's where we're at today, I think. And I think this is a big threat. And I think Tom Brevoort is a little bit coping and seething over here. And I feel like, to be honest, with Diamond and all the troubles it's having right now, and especially hard to deal with creators that can be controversial or be canceled, I think comics really has to get back to basics and being fun, engaging, cliffhanger endings, things that are going to pull you and rope you in month after month. I don't think it's going to be the collectible market. I think it really needs to be the fun, disposable entertainment market. And that is that's how these characters got so popular to begin with. That's what made the American comic book industry it is. I don't know, is it too little, too late? Will video games take over and do that? What could Marvel Rivals big effect have for Marvel Comics publishing? And I think Tom Brevoort is a fool if he's not seeing this in the scope of things, especially in other Substacks, him talking about Marvel is there for research and development. Tom, wake up. Video games can do that and will be able to do that a lot more than you can. And, at the very least, if comics is around versus the video game era, it's going to be on a very, I don't know, boiled down, very basic publishing plan. If you guys will hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notification. Also, please go over here, check out our next book that we're going to be launching later this year, Anatomic, on 9 Lives Comics or Indiegogo. You can sign up there. You'll get a free lenticular card with purchase. And also, we have some items in our shop. We have some merch we've added, plus previous books if you guys have missed out on any of these. Extend, Inglorious Rex, Starlight Cats, our all ages book. You can pick up a copy on our site along with some merch. And I'll leave you guys with a trailer for our smash hit comic, Inglorious Rex 3, being worked on right now.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you. Truth always hurts worse. Doing good till first, reverse, now you last. Blast of the past. It's cool though. Last card, play it right. Uno. We never let up. Been down forever. Sick man, we fed up. Know that we tired. Wake up the beast that's been sleeping inside. It's time to ride. We ready to slide. Hard-headed, I will not listen. If you do not get it, that's your bad. Keep up in the sky like we see you feet up. Metal meets metal, it's no keeping up. Sniper the vision, it's no seeing us. This here is earned, ain't no hookups. Swift you on the E, gotta cook up. Next level on the way, better look up. Swift you on the E, gotta cook up. I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. Can't kill my